All right, so Christopher and Seth, you've given us a great theological foundation for having these conversations around race and racial identity. And I'm wondering if you could specifically talk about why it's important to have these kind of conversations with youth and adolescents and high schoolers.
I think it's fundamental, actually, to how young people begin to see themselves, how they already see themselves, right? I think, we have data that shows us that, kids, 3, 4, 5 years old understand race and racialization. Even if they're not expressing it and having conversations, like they get it in terms of how hierarchy works. And so by the time you're a teenager, right, and you're actually in conversation, do you really have a depth of understanding of who sits at what lunch table, who plays what sport, what kind of person is supposed to be good at math, all these other kinds of things, right? So we live and embody and inhibit a racialized world. And so I think it's important for youth to have conversations to give them a platform to be able to express what they're seeing. This is why I think it's really important to have it in church, right? In a particular space where there's already some credibility built in with the pastor. There's a certain sense of community and safetyness that's there to allow them to be able to express what they're seeing, what they're experiencing, and how perhaps they're seeing things that are inconsistent with what they've been told in church about how we're supposed to treat people, how we're supposed to be in a relationship with people. But they see it in school, and maybe they see other people they want to be Christian do this, and how do they begin to make sense of it? So I think it's an opportune time for them to ask really important questions that can begin to just reshape how we think and talk about race theologically, right, within all of, within churches especially, but youth groups specifically.